we have this governor on our brain, and how you start pushing past that governor, start realizing your brain has the tactical advantage over you. Why? Because it knows your insecurities. It knows when you're lying, it knows your fears, it knows everything about you.
We all know when we're relaxed exactly the person we want to become. The question is, do we believe we can become it? How bad do you want it? There's two options: to continue forward, pushing upward. And if you do, that dream is given birth, and forever you will live in the reality of it. If you stop, quit, throw in the towel, I promise you there's no distance you can travel far enough to find that dream again, for it is dead.
At one point in time, you got to take a chance on you.
I don't want to live in a hole anymore. It makes me feel poor.
We are poor, but we're happy.
The views are better above ground. Honey, I'm 7 non-Fox years old now. My father died at 7.5. I don't want to live in a hole anymore, and I'm going to do something about it.
Why would you not go for
it? If you quit that easy, you never really wanted it that bad. Hopelessness is a state of mind. Don't live your entire life hopeless and unfulfilled. As long as you're moving towards your dream. You say, Dwayne, what if I'm so far away from my dream now that I die before I actually reach it? Die on the road. Die on the road.
That pain you feel, that's the pain of success. You must be willing to shoulder that pain to get to success. Success is something that's a very lonely path in this world, because few are willing to make that down payment of pain for that future of success, a better life. Very few are. And when you get the success, what comes with that is many that love you, but the majority will hate you for it, because your success is a spotlight shining down on their missed opportunities, where they came up short, where they didn't quite have it inside and never went back to revisit it, where failure is what stood instead of improving failure for success. Failure is part of the recipe for success. You fail 1,000 times before you succeed. Every single person has. It's the losers that fail once and quit. Every winner has done failed. The loser and the winner both have failed. It's just that the winner gets back up and does it again. Very lonely road success is. Know that going into it.
I don't respect a whole bunch of people, but the few that I did respect are the people who were uncommon amongst uncommon people. And what that means is those people who weren't afraid to stand alone. Those people who have morals, values, who did not go with. If all you guys are going left, it's that one person who say, you know what, left's not the right way. I'm gonna go right. Who didn't follow the crowd. That person who's not afraid of doing what they believe is right in their heart and not following someone else because someone else said, let's go this way, and they agree with everybody. I don't like yes men or yes women. If you're right, you're right. We're gonna follow you. But I like people who stand for something, they believe in something, and this is the way I'm gonna go whether you like me or not.
What would your life be like if you made use of all the potential that you were offered? I'm going to do the best I can at everything that offers itself to me. Mm-hmm. And then I'm going to see, well, is my life better or is my life worse? It's like, you try it for a year, you think, it's actually better. My friendships are better, my family's better, I'm less anxious, I'm more positively oriented, I'm less resentful and bitter and jealous and angry. Mm-hmm. I'm more physically healthy. It's like, what happens if you did that for 5 years?
Why do you think it says, take the opportunity? It doesn't say receive the opportunity. Right. It doesn't say have the opportunity granted to you. It doesn't say get lucky with the opportunity. It says take the opportunity. You know what that means? That means you have to seize it. That means you have to take it. No one's going to give it to you. No one's going to come and say, here, I got this path. You can make $1 million a year or $10 million a year. If you do, that's not how it works, bro. True high achievers, they look for the lane and then they take the opportunity by taking initiative. And a lot of people don't like to do that because they do this. Well, what if I do all this? and they don't recognize me. I'm not going to put in all this work and, have them not pay me for my blah, blah, blah. Let me tell you something, bro. That's loser talk. Because here's the reality. If you took the opportunity, you learned the skills, you learned how to solve the problems, and you were actually valuable, and your place of business doesn't recognize it, you just learned a whole new set of skills that you could take elsewhere and make more money.
Can't do this, Pete. I'm not like you. I'm nothing. Just let me be nothing.
What are you talking about?
I can't make a track team. I didn't even know why you
Yes, you
want me
can.
to.
If you could take it, you can make it.
What?
If you can take it, you can make it. All right, you train, you fight way harder than those other guys, and you win. You get out from under them. Or you keep going the way you're going and you end up as a bum in the streets. You could do this, Lou. Just gotta believe you can.
Whenever I was in college and I was feeling really stressed out and I was overwhelmed at times and I didn't like what the situation was, I would always say, what would I tell my future son? Because if I can't tell him to get through adversity right now, if I can't tell him to keep pushing through, if I don't live that, if I don't live through that, how am I gonna ever give him genuine advice one day to get through it on his own? So you gotta think, man, like sometimes you go through things and you don't know the reason at first, but it's not for right now. It's to help someone later, like your son or your daughter. Sometimes you're living through the toughest thing ever and you don't know why it's happening to you. But sometimes, guys, it's bigger than what you can even see right now. Sometimes your son gonna be looking you in the eye and say, Dad, how do I get through this? And then what are you gonna tell him when you quit before? What are you gonna tell him when you took shortcuts? That's the point, man. There's so much stuff that's bigger than you right now that you're going through for a bigger purpose than you can even imagine.
A blade does not become strong. It does not become tempered until it's been through the fire. Until it's been through the fire several times. And this is just your first or second time through the fire. And there's a lot of hammer work that has to take place. And then you're gonna have to go back in the forge again. And it's hot, and it melts you down, and you're uncomfortable. And then life is gonna pull you out, and it's gonna put you on the anvil, and it's gonna hammer on you some more. And you're gonna say, what, am I done yet? Am I a sword for the ages? No, you're not. You're not done yet. And don't look for what you are supposed to be fully, completely polished, sharpened, edged, tempered at 26 or 36, at 46. You've got a lot more forge time left. You've got a lot more hammer blows left, and it takes time. But if you will patiently embrace the process, then by the time you get up in years, you can be a man that you're proud of.
So as you continue to develop your talents and to make your mark upon the world, remember that nothing worth doing is ever easy. You'll have bad moments. You gotta love what you're doing. And if you don't, just do something else.
Some of y'all don't want it. That's why you ain't got it. Excuses sound best to the person that's making them up. Because you grew up in a household with dysfunction, drama, mental, spiritual, physical, and emotional abuse. Doesn't mean that that's the outcome of what your life, your career is destined to be. Excuses sound best to the person that's making them up. There's pretty much nothing that you could say that you went through that I haven't went through, and I'm still here. Stop feeling sorry for yourself. Get off the pity potty. Wake your ass up. Awaken the beast inside. Get in shape. Get off the pity potty. Stop looking for the new pity committees. Running around telling everybody your sad and sob stories, trying to get people to show up to your pity parties and your pity parades. It's time to take to another level. It's game on. It's focus. It's go season.
Driven human beings are going to always feel like they're behind. They're going to always feel like they're not doing good enough. They're going to always feel like they're not far enough. They're all going to always feel like you're losing. Look, winning, this is how it feels. 90% of the time, you're going to feel like you're getting your balls kicked in, all right? 8% of the time, you're going to be confused and you're frustrated. 2% of the time, you actually win. And those moments come and go, and then you're back in the 90%. And that's the reality of a winner's life. People don't understand that. They think it's all about cruising around in a cool car, having a free and happy and easy and go-lucky life. And that's not reality, because true winners are built for the fucking fight. They're built for the battle. They don't find peace and joy and happiness in the win. They find what they're looking for in the fight.
You are one decision, one relationship, one thought, one emotion, one meeting away from a completely different life. And unless you believe, first off, I'm right about that, it's true. But unless you believe that, and then you program your reticular activating system in your brain to find those things, you will never have them happen to you. But if you begin to believe, I'm one meeting away from a different life, I'm one decision away, I'm one podcast away, I'm hearing one guy in the United States away from changing my life forever.
At the end of the day, I ask myself one question: can I take one more step? And usually the answer is yes. So if you can answer that question and not take another step, that is real failure. That is real quitting. So a lot of people can take one more step, but they choose not to. I don't know if you can take 2 steps. You got to answer that question after you take the first step. But I can always take one more step, so if I choose not to, that's on me. And I got to live with that.
How fast can you turn your day around, basically? That's unbelievable. Some people can sit around and wait for the opportunity to change like this, and then they get the fuck up. Some people strike when that iron's hot. Other people keep on striking until the fucking blade's so hot it slices through anything. Some people get up in the middle of a snowstorm or a rainstorm, pushes through, listen to their pride, not their ego. And what happens? The sun comes out, birth of a new day, new opportunities. We're living. We're not waiting for it to pass by. I said it 1,000 times in this workout, guys. Your greatest moment, your greatest hour will be right after your worst hour of despair. Because in that worst hour of despair, who are you? Who are you? You're no one. The foundations that you build yourself on, your looks or your money or your family or your friends, have all left you at that point, haven't they? What's left? Just you, mano to mano. Who's talking inside? Is there anything left? You're at the bottom of the barrel. No place to go but up. That's the voice that carries your weak ass, pathetic ass that everyone said goodbye to and left. To get the fuck up on the intestinal fortitude. Stand back up in a cloudy day until the sun comes out. That is your finest hour. That's the positive confidence of pride, not the negative confidence of ego. We're worried about other people. What we do every day, every single day, what we do becomes habitual and routine. Through practice, every single day we do the same thing, regardless of egocentrical ideas and ideologies, of weather, surroundings, elements, people, regardless. We're on our mission because this universe, we are the center of our own universe.
Do what you want to do. It's not up to other people.
It's true.
It's up to you.
It's true.
Motivation is at the all-time high when your bills are paid, when your wife or husband is good, when everything is good, you're motivated. It's that person when all hell breaks loose and everything falls apart that says, I still gotta get it in. And how you get to that point in life, what I figured out, it's so noisy right now. This world is so noisy. We all walk around with these phones, computers. The world is so fast. We're not able to think. The most powerful weapon in the world, we walk around with it. It's our mind, it's our brain. You have to be able to go into a very dark place in your mind and figure who you are. Go back to what you want to do, what's your purpose. We can't figure our purpose out or why we're here or why we're even born or whatever because it's so loud in our mind. We don't have any quiet time with ourselves to sit back and say, what do I really want? There's so many different dialogues in our head that we can't think. So my biggest thing is you have to be alone in a very dark place in your mind to think about what is important to you.
Courage is the key to life itself. There are a lot of people who are born in situations where they say, well, I'll never get out of this, so they won't. I say to people who say, well, I would like to have done so and so and so. So, well, you could have done it. So, well, I couldn't get out of here. Man, the bus runs every day.
Lazy people do a little work and think they should be winning, but winners work as hard as possible and still worry if they're being lazy.
Everyone does a few reps when the burn starts and they stop. No one goes the extra mile and keeps going. Like no one's in here right now. Why? Because it's Saturday evening, everyone's going to party, no one's in here, it's me. You know, no one goes the extra mile. The thing about traffic jams, guys, there are no traffic jams in the last mile of the race. It's just you and your shadow. In the beginning, everybody's there. All the pretenders and the contenders, they're all there. But the last yard of life, the last mile of the journey, ain't nobody but you and your shadow. Traffic jams don't exist that far, because everyone else has already given up. That's what I like too, the mental concept. I'm going that far. I love the physical high of the burn being released. I love the mental high that it's improved myself. I love the mentality that I'm just beating my competitors silently where they don't even know it. They're out partying, I'm out here getting ahead.
How many times has God showed you something in your imagination that you thought was so wonderful? And then you took it in there to your family and your friends and you shared it with them and they shot it down. You know why they shot it down? Because they couldn't see it. You know why they didn't see it? Because God ain't show it to them. He showed it to you.
And a year from now, it's gonna happen like that. And who is your future self? 1 year from now, who is it? It's like everyone's out of here, go party Saturday night. They're not willing to sacrifice. I'm like the lone survivor in here. You know, tonight will be over with too. Tomorrow I'll be stronger for it. Another day will go by. 365 of them happen so fucking fast. Who are you gonna be in a year from now? And in a year from now, does that future person hold regret or pride? We know that day's coming. We can't go backwards, we can only go forward. We know that day's coming. What we do right now, we'll ensure it goes our way. We'll ensure that there is no regret. That's something you can't ever fix. It's a debate inside your head that never stops. We can learn from past regrets to ensure we don't re-regret them. To ensure we don't go out tonight. If we stay in here, even else, no one else is here, and push it a little bit further, there's still work to be done. The party I might smile at tonight, the laughter I might be had tonight, is a huge distant second to the pride one feels of accomplishing their goals. And here, even though it's painful, it's joyful because I can taste it, I see it clear, I'm closer to it. A year will come with great honor, not great regrets.
This law says that everything counts. Everything that you do counts. The biggest mistake that people make is they think that only what they want to count counts. No. When you read a book, when you listen to an audio program, when you go to a course, when you go to bed early and get up early and you work, it all counts. And it's all going on the plus side of your ledger. But when you watch television, waste time, hang out, fool around, and so on, all of that counts as well. And it's going on the negative side of your ledger. A person who has a great life by the law of accumulation is a person who's accumulated far more credits, more pluses on the credit side than debits on the debit side. And here's an important point. If what you are doing is not moving you towards your goals, then it's probably moving you away from your goals. Nothing is neutral. Everything that you're doing is either moving you toward the things that you want to accomplish in life, the person you want to be, the wealth you want to accumulate, or it's moving you away. Everything counts. The law of accumulation says that everything counts.
And the other thing that's so interesting about being alive is that you're all in. No matter what you do, you're all in. This is going to kill you. So I think you might as well play the most magnificent game you can while you're waiting. Because do you have anything better to do? Really? Why not pick the best thing possible that you could do? Why not do that? Maybe you could justify your wretched existence to yourself that way. I think you could.
Unfulfilled potential is the story of most people's lives.
It is. It is. And it could have been the story of mine. And I tell a lot of people go, what's your biggest fear in life? And my biggest fear, honestly, was, let's say this. Let's say, I don't care if you believe in God or not. I don't care. So let's just play a game with me. Let's say you're God. And we have a big, long line of people. And I made it to heaven. I'm 75 years old. I'm 300 pounds. I made it to heaven. I worked for Ecolab my entire life, spraying for cockroaches. That's what I did. But I'm dead. I'm in heaven now. And you're judging us all now. So we're in line. We're all sitting there in line. You have Adam Brown. He has a big board up, and you're talking to Adam Brown about his life. And you rip it down, and I'm next in line, David Goggins. I see my name, and I see all this shit, and God goes, hey, you say, read this, man. And I'm reading this list, and I'm seeing 182 pounds, Navy SEAL, Ranger School, motivational speaker, changing lives. And I'm like, that's not me, man. And God looks at me and says, that's who you were supposed to be. And my biggest fear, I visualize some crazy shit. My biggest fear is that one day I'm gonna reach a judgment of my life. Something's gonna judge me for what the I was supposed to be in life. And what I want now is that whoever's judged me up there, I want them to have a board and them up there right now getting their pen out. Because, this person who judges you is supposed to know everything. You're supposed to know from the time you're dead to the time you're, time you're born, time you're dead. I want this person to be up there to be like this, up there writing more about me, saying, I know you could do that. I know you can do that. So I want to impress whatever the is up there, whatever's going on in life. I want to go up there and not have anything left on the table. I want to drain my soul of every bit of person I am.
You only live once, so do what you feel passionate about. Take chances professionally. Don't be afraid to fail. There's an old IQ test, was 9 dots, and you had to draw 5 lines with a pencil within these 9 dots without lifting the pencil. The only way to do it was to go outside the box. So don't be afraid to go outside the box. Don't be afraid to think outside the box. Don't be afraid to fail big, to dream big. But remember, dreams without goals are just dreams, and they ultimately fuel disappointment. So have dreams, but have goals.
Whatever it is that you would like to do better, act as though you're a top-flight expert at it. And if you continue to play this part long enough, you will become an expert. When Arnold Palmer was 10 years old and on his way to becoming the world's greatest golfer of his time, he used to pretend that he was playing in national tournaments. He would even pretend to be the sports commentator announcing that the champion, Arnold Palmer, was now getting ready to tee off. You can take a great many strokes off your golf game simply by pretending you're playing in a great tournament, and that every time you swing or putt, you're surrounded by a large gallery and the television cameras. You'll find that you take more time, line up your shots better, and swing more like the pros and less like the duffers. If you can get a mental image of the person you would most like to become, begin now to act as that person would act in everything you do. Gradually, imperceptibly, you will actually become that person. It goes back to what the great German poet and philosopher Goethe once said. Before you can do something, you must first be something. Before you can do what you would most like to do, you must first become the person who can do it.
You gotta have a dream. I don't know how people survive in life with any kind of peace or happiness or fulfillment without having a dream. Now, as I've mentioned before, a dream needs to be something that there is a possibility of fulfilling. Otherwise, it's not a dream, it's a fantasy. But you need a dream, and don't be afraid to dream big. The saying is that if your dreams don't scare you to death, they're not big enough. Your dream needs to be bigger than you are right now. If you have a dream and you say, I can fulfill that dream right now, today, that's not really a dream. And it's not big enough. And you will only succeed to the level of your dreams.
But never stop fighting. No matter what anyone says, no matter how they try to compromise you, compromise your vision. If it's in your gut, if it's in your soul, there's nothing, there's no worldly possessions that should come between you and your expression. Death is promised. So what do you do with your life? How do you make the most of it?
When something is important enough, you do it even if the odds are not in your favor.
Don't give up. If times are hard, good things nor bad things last forever. But most generally, we are in control of our own destiny.
Everything you're going through is preparing you for what you asked God for. You just got to quit tripping while you're in the process, because the process is necessary. You may not see it now, but when he gets you on the other side of it, you're going to see exactly why it went that way, and you're going to be okay with it. But quit tripping during the process. Oh, Lord, why me? You ain't the only one. Oh, Lord, why me? You ain't the only one. Oh, Lord, why I lose my job? You ain't the only one unemployed. Oh, Lord, why he leave me? You ain't the first chick got left. This might not even be your last time getting left. Pull yourself together and quit tripping, because you in the process. God is processing you. He ain't through with you. If he was through with you, you would not wake up in the morning. He gonna fix it.
I don't care what you're going to do, but go out there and make something of yourself for God's sake. Be an honest person and work and get to the top of whatever it is that you want to get to the top of. You know, and stand up for yourself like a respectable human being and be a bit of a light on the world instead of a blight. You know, and you can tell young people that, and they haven't been told that by anyone now. And so the young men are so hungry for that it's painful to watch. They're so relieved when someone finally comes up and says, hey, you know, you get your act together a bit, discipline yourself, see if you can learn to tell the truth, concentrate on something for a year or two, you could be a bloody world beater. They think.
You know, it's so easy for me when I cut my hand in the very beginning of this. I say, dude, it hurts, man, I can't go on. It's so easy to make that excuse, and you know what, I can live with that. That's a viable excuse, right? Is it the truth? Can you go on? What else do you want? Is this stronger than your dreams? And do you put as much time and attention into your dreams as you do your fears? That makes sense to you guys? So many people think all day long on what they're scared of. You know, before a wrestling match, you know, back in the day, I remember a lot of my opponents be like, oh man, what happens if I lose? What happens if I get caught? What happens if they take me down? What the are we talking about? All that tension, all that energy going into the possibility of failure. Why can't the individual, the human, erase that mentality and put all that tension is, you know, how great it's gonna feel when I pin that motherfucker, when I take him down, when I beat him down in front of his home crowd, when I win something, when I go after something, when I put the work in and achieve it. Why don't we think that way? We're always thinking about losing something being taken from us, trying to maintain what we have. Like, you know, we can't lose this. It's so valuable. Why do we think that way? Why are we always thinking about the fears, the worst case scenario? All we do is put all that energy in there. Why don't we put the energy into the dreams that can be? The reason why you're doing that, if you are putting all that time and effort into fears instead of your dreams, is because you're not doing this enough. You're not in here killing yourself enough. You're not working hard enough. You're not studying hard enough. You're not burning the midnight oil every night, which prevents you from staying awake in the midnight hours later in life wondering what it could have been. You erase that through all of this payment, guys. It's free. don't need to shoot up for it, you don't need to snort, you sweat for it. And then when you leave here, it's an abdominal will is like just been nurtured. You don't think about second place. You think about first, and then the legacy, and building the gap between you and every other person.
You know, if every time someone asks you a question, you try to say the right answer, your entire life is a test. And when did you have the most anxiety? In grammar school and high school? No question. On test day. No question. So your entire life become this test. I ain't trying to say the right answer. I am just doing what I feel. My mama said trying is failing. There is no ifs, woulds, coulds, shoulds. It just is, and we just are.
Stop complaining about the results you didn't get from the work you didn't put in. The only way to become more successful than most people is to be willing to do something most people aren't willing to do. It sucks. You're tired. Everybody says that you're leaving your friends behind, leaving your family behind, betraying your culture, betraying whatever expectation it is that they have on you.
Your brain is the most powerful weapon in the world. Once you put away your phones and your computers and all that we have nowadays, that's great. We're up to date. But your brain is the only thing you have when you're going through depression, when you're going through hard times, when you're going through death, real life. You can't Google that, man.
The work doesn't care.
Yeah. Charlie Munger, in one of his seminal speeches, he talks about how to guarantee failure, how to make sure that you are a failure. And he inverts the concept of success. It's like, what could you do to make sure that you were a failure? It's like, well, you would definitely get involved in drugs, drinking. He says, was it leverage, liquor, and women? That's, the Charlie's big one, right? But one of the ones that he has, I think he has 7 in his speech, is consistency. He's like, you have to make sure that you're inconsistent. He's like, because if you are consistent and you have none of the other attributes, he's like, you still might be successful. He's like, it's very tough for people who are consistent to not be successful. And he makes an especially pointed point about consistency, because in my opinion, it's one of the most difficult of the virtues for humans to do, because we're so attracted to novelty. And so, I used to deal with this with, people on their diets all the time. I remember I ran gyms. And so someone would come in and I would always ask the question, so have you been following the meal plan? And then they would say, yes. And so then I started changing the way I asked the question. So I'd say, out of the 21 meals that you were supposed to eat, how many of the 21 did you have exactly the way it was on the meal plan? And then they would be like, at least half. And they would say it as though that was a mark of success. And right now, the meal plan could be your content plan. It could be your showing up to work on time plan. It could be the time that you want to put towards your side hustle. It doesn't really matter. But if there's one muscle that you can flex, it's learning to do the same thing over and over again. Like one of the values that we had at Gym Launch is do the boring work, because boring is what makes you rich.
What do you do when you fail, and how do you handle it? Other than death, all failure is psychological. Other than death, all failure is psychological. Think about that. Just think about that. This failure, this upset, this catastrophe. If you aren't dead, then it's just psychological. It's in your head. Now, this does not mean that you won't lose some battles, because you will. We all will. But it does mean that as long as you don't surrender, as long as you don't give up, as long as you don't quit, then you haven't failed. It just means you've made a temporary tactical retreat. It means you've made a brief withdrawal so that you can regroup and reattack. So, as far as I'm concerned, if you get beat, unless you're dead, you are not defeated. And you have not failed. What you've done is you've learned. You've gained experience. And you're still alive.
People love to show you the cars and the house and the vacations, and all that's good. all that's happy. I'm gonna show you the side that I know most you're going through. And people hide very well. I don't wanna hide anymore. I hid it for 24 fucking years. So that's why now I told you, we can talk about whatever you want. Because as human beings, the first thing we have to learn, I also stuttered real bad growing up. So if you hear me stutter every now and then, it's because that was part of my life also. So it's funny, human beings want to show you the best side, and they want to hide the worst side. For me, I'm going to teach you how to be vulnerable, because that's the only way you fix yourself. You don't fix yourself by coming out here and me selling you some fucking books. That's why I don't have them. I forgot them. I'm glad people got something from the book. I want you to learn that the only way you grow is how to look at yourself and say, okay, like I did. Table longer than this. What the I have to do to get somewhere? There was nothing good on there. Nothing. Yeah, I love playing basketball. I left that out. That's something I love to do. I don't care about that. That didn't make the fucking list. Because the list that I had to live by was the very list that was to get me at this table with you. To talk to you, to the normal human beings which I once was, about how you can get somewhere and how it looks. It looks very ugly. There's no fucking passion. There's no fucking motivation. There's no, oh my God, man, no. It's every day of your life just doing. No passion, no discipline, no motivation. Yeah, all these words, I hate that so many people can use these words now because it's watered. It's someone sitting in a room by themselves and they figure themselves out and say, God, this is gonna fucking suck. Where's passion when you're 300 pounds? Where's the motivation when you can't read and write? Where is it? So how did this happen? I just fucking did. I just did. I said, maybe at the end of this journey, there'll be something there for me. If not, I can read. If not, I'm 185 fucking pounds.
Louis, a moment of pain is worth a lifetime of glory. Remember that.
You know, I get asked a lot, what is a secret of achieving goals? How do you really quantitate it? How do you put it down so every day you know if you're going in that direction of success or maybe you're altered? And people are like, man, is it your genetics? Is it your potential? Is it, when it comes down to it, success has nothing to do with potential. It's all about the perseverance of somebody. That will override any endeavor. If you throw against the wall, eventually something will stick. You guys that have this potential, don't have this potential, that dies. What continues to last forever is a perseverance to always show up. That's what champions do. Every single champion is the same as every ordinary person. The only differential is that they show up to the event every single day. They see failure as a learning curve. They welcome failure. You learn more from failure than you ever will from success. So showing up and getting knocked on your ass, finding intestinal fortitude, stand back up and re-face that endeavor is going to be the overriding factor that makes a difference. How do you know when you're doing those things? The small things in life add up to those big monumental things. When I say the small things, it's a character building block, that your name means something. You hold value to your name. If you drop trash from the ground, you pick it up because that's your responsibility. You hold value to yourself. When you shake someone's hand, you look them in the eye and give them a firm handshake because you're here for a purpose. Everything you do to the best of your ability. It doesn't matter what you're doing, it's the fact that you're doing it, so therefore it means something to you. That's going to build a legacy because, the title out there doesn't mean. You win the title, fine. That title will not get you another title. What you're trying to build is legacy. Footprints behind you that are left motivation for someone else to follow. Legacy is built daily through the character, through the willpower, the code of conduct within somebody. And that's the perseverance, showing up every single day. That will always achieve your goal. It doesn't matter what you're born with. It doesn't matter your potential, how much, the silver spoon of money you have. All of that can be attained if you show up and you're willing to risk failure for success.
The fear is never reaching your potential.
That's it.
That always falling short, always quitting before you're done, always procrastinating, always not doing the right thing. And then one day you're an old man.
Yep.
And you look back and go, God, I could have been great.
Yep.
I could have been great.
I never forget one time I was running by a graveyard when I was just trying to become I was fat. And I ran by a graveyard and I looked out there and I have all these epiphanies, man. I have all these moments of it's crazy, man, of just thought. Cause I'm always by myself and I'm always deep in thought about how to be better. And I look out there, I'm like, man, I wonder how many of you motherfuckers in there and just are so upset with how you lived your life and just regret how you lived it. And I'm running at 300-pound man thinking, man, don't die like this, bro. Don't die like this. So people wonder where this comes from me. It comes from such deep thought of trying to see what this is all about. What is this life all about? What am I all about? Why am I here? You know, I had to find purpose.
Confucius had a great saying that, every man has two lives, and the second starts when he realizes he has just one.
Write down 10 goals you'd like to accomplish, and then ask yourself this great question. If you could only accomplish one goal on this list, but you could accomplish it within 24 hours, which one goal would have the greatest positive impact on your life? Now, this is a great question because it'll usually jump out at you. You say, that's the one. If I had this, that would have more of an impact on my life than anything else. Sometimes it's a financial goal, sometimes it's a health goal, sometimes it's a relationship goal. But whatever it is, put a circle around that goal and then turn the page over and write it at the top of the page. Set a deadline on the goal, make a list of everything that you could think of to do to achieve the goal, and then begin working on your list. And here's the kicker, do something every day. Do something every day that moves you one step forward towards your major goal. My promise to you that this exercise, selecting your most important goal, making a plan, and working on it every day, will change your life in ways that you cannot imagine.
Try to find a thing that you really enjoy. Try to find a thing that you're passionate about. Find something. Find a thing that you genuinely enjoy, because getting good at things you genuinely enjoy is extremely beneficial for young people, because it lets you know that, everybody thinks they're a loser. Every young person thinks they're a loser. At least a young person in the situation I was at. I didn't know I wasn't a loser until I started winning, until I started doing martial arts. Martial arts taught me that I could get better at stuff, that I wasn't really a loser. I just was someone who was in a f***ed up situation, but you could channel all that energy that you have as a young person into something and get better at it, and then all of a sudden people admired me.
I'm 21 years old. I just moved out of my house for the first time. I'm ready to take on the world, and I was wondering what you would tell yourself if you could speak to your 21-year-old self.
I would say ask her out. No matter who she is, whether she's a job or a new city or an actual person, whether she's an opportunity or a fear, if you're afraid of heights, ask her out. Whatever she is, man, ask her out. Just recognize that whatever could be out there, I could have it.
When I know I need to change something, what I do is I change it. That's what I do. I change it. And I've had people that listen to the podcast, and they've reached out to me over the past few years, and one of the main messages that they took and put into action was actually putting things into action, whatever that was. They stopped eating sugar. They stopped sleeping in. They started waking up early. They quit playing video games for 10 or 12 or 14 hours a day. They sold that Xbox thing. There was a guy that bit his nails for his whole life, and he's in his 30s. Hey, well, whatever, no big deals, right? He bit his nails. Well, you know what? His nails are all chewed up and they're bloody and they're gross looking, and he's self-conscious when he's meeting people and shaking hands, and he can't keep his hands away from his mouth while he's in meetings or in interacting with people. But he couldn't stop. And then he stopped. He just stopped, and the list goes on. There's people that have quit drinking, and quit doing drugs, and quit losing their temper. And I've heard from so many different people that have implemented change in their lives. So many letters and messages and notes. And I want you to know that these people aren't a bunch of elite special operations warriors. That's not who they are. They aren't a bunch of high-level athletes or highly screened and highly trained individuals. These are just normal people, really. But they're normal people that knew they needed to make a change. And they decided they were going to make a change, and then they made it. And that is what I do. And that is what you can do too. If you have something to change, if you want to change something, change it. Change it now.
And in my estimation, your ability and your willingness and your tenaciousness in developing yourself is the key to accomplishing everything else.
Here's how to really cash in on this year. Number one, get serious. Life is serious. We call it life or death. Somebody asked me one time if I had a good description of life. I said, yes, I think I've got a good one. Life is the struggle to keep death at a respectable distance. It's serious whether you win or lose. It's serious whether you succeed or fail. It's serious whether you've got a good future carved out for yourself or you do not have. These are serious matters. Matters of the heart are serious. Matters of income are serious. Matters of supporting your family, serious. And I'm asking you to take it serious. Take your own future serious. What you can do for your family, take it serious. This is serious business.
You can learn anything you need to learn to achieve any goal you can set for yourself. And I teach that, and I've taught that for more than 30 years. You can learn anything you need to learn to achieve any goal you can set. If you want to become healthy or wealthy or raise happy children or build a successful business, you can learn how, which means there are no limits. And that was the big turning point in my life.
Quitting. You'll regret it for the rest of your life. Baseball is what gets inside you. It's what lights you up. You can't deny that.
It just got too hard.
It's supposed to be hard. If it wasn't hard, everyone would do it. The hard is what makes it great.
Here's to the crazy ones, the misfits, the rebels, the troublemakers, the round pegs in the square holes, the ones who see things differently. They're not fond of rules, and they have no respect for the status quo. You can quote them, disagree with them, glorify or vilify them. About the only thing you can't do is ignore them, because they change things. They push the human race forward. While some may see them as the crazy ones, we see genius. Because the people who are crazy enough to think they can change the world are the ones who do.
It's not who you are underneath. It's what you do that defines you.
What makes you uniquely you? I think a lot of times folks, especially young folks who I tend to empathize with and speak to more often, they're not comfortable because they're going along with the society that's around them, and they're trying to fit in the framework of what everyone around them or on whatever social media they're on says that they should be, how they should look, how they should conduct themselves. And you can't be comfortable with yourself if you don't know who yourself is. And you can't know who yourself is if you don't stop looking at how everybody around you is and start looking at what makes you comfortable and what makes you uniquely you. There's roughly close to, I guess, about 8 billion people on this planet, but there's only one you. Would you stand out in a crowd? Not in a bad way. What makes you you doesn't need to be something that's immoral or obnoxious or uncomfortable, but just uniquely you. Just you. Now,
you might have this mindset of ambition, of being and doing more in life, of making more money and being that one to break the generational financial curse in your family, yet you put yourself around people who are of the take it easy mindset, find the balance mindset, the crop duster mindset. These motherfuckers who will watch television all weekend long rooting for their quote unquote team. It's like, motherfucker, you don't own that baseball team, that basketball team, the football team, yet you know all their stats, but you won't get your fat up and make a social media video where you can add value and then give people a call to action to slide into your DMs to be able to serve them in some capacity where you will have a greater sense of fulfillment, because that is what consciousness wants from you, right? Like, we all know what the right thing is, but it's easy to adopt a take it easy mindset and then succumb to balance. But there's no one that I know that takes it easy or has balance and lives a lifestyle of freedom. There just simply isn't. Everyone that I know sets themselves up for higher expectations. Everyone that I know who's successful and happy and fulfilled and making a massive amount of impact and income and inspiring others, they have higher standards of expectations. Everyone that I know who is doing well surrounds themselves with other hard workers, and everyone that I know is harder on themselves, and it is okay to be hard on yourself. I'm not saying like beat yourself up to the point where you just feel defeated and you feel like a piece of shit. But like, be hard on yourself, man. If you set the goal to make 10 sales calls today and the day ended and it's Friday and you only got to 7, be hard on yourself and say, you know what? I'm gonna keep calling until I get to 10, because my higher self demands this of me. My higher self doesn't want me to take it easy. My higher self wants me to make more money and to create more experiences and security for my family. My higher self, the fighter jet within, has a different set of expectations than the crop dusters that I hang out with.
That the average income of the people in the top 20% is 16 times the average income of the people in the bottom 80%. Now, let me ask you a question. Does it mean the people in the top 20% are 16 times better than the people in the bottom 80%? 16 times more experience? Do they work 16 times the number of hours? Do they have 16 times the number of years of education? Are they 16 times more handsome? Are they 16 times anything? You know that it's not humanly possible to be twice as smart as somebody else, unless you're looking at very, very unintelligent people and very, very brilliant people. It's just really not humanly possible on average for us to even be twice as smart as anybody else. But 20% of these people are making 16 times the average of the rest. Prudential Insurance Company did a study some years ago, and they put the thousands of agents that they have throughout the United States into their computers and compared their income, and it came out the 80-20 rule worked. 20% of the salespeople were doing 80% of the business. Well, they had all the data on the computer, so they ran it through one more time. They said, what's the average income of the top 20% of the top 20% compared to the bottom 80%? Now, for those mathematicians among you, that works out to the top 4%. What was the average income? They found the top 4% were earning, on average, 32 times the average of the people in the bottom 80%. So they said, this is interesting, and they ran it through one more time. They found that the top 20% of the top 20% of the top 20%, which is the top 0.8%, that's good. Top 0.8% were earning, on average, 54 times the average of the people in the bottom 80%. What they found is that in every state and in every major city where they had an office with a large number of agents working out of it, there was one agent who was selling the same product at the same price to the same people with the same competition under the same circumstances, under the same set of difficulties in the economy, who was earning 50 times the amount of the average adult. That there were 50 agents in the office and one person was earning more than all of them put together. Isn't that amazing? And one of the things they found is that the key to this was that each one of these agents had made the commitment to become excellent early in their career. They didn't say, I'm going to go into this and I'm going to earn a living. They said, I'm going to go into this and I'm going to be the best. And they read every single book written by the top agents, and they went to every single seminar, and they listened to every single tape, and they spent every single hour they could with other successful people learning what they needed to know to be successful. You must commit yourself to excellence. You must commit yourself to becoming the best. And the wonderful thing is that excellence is a journey. It's not a destination. You never get there. Complacency and satisfaction are the key enemies of excellence. But once you commit yourself to becoming excellent, the whole world opens up for you. A very important point of excellence is it just means simply this: do your best every time out and always strive to do it better.
You cannot let a fear of failure or a fear of comparison or a fear of judgment stop you from doing what's going to make you great. You cannot succeed without this risk of failure. You cannot have a voice without the risk of criticism. And you cannot love without the risk of loss. You must go out and you must take these risks. Everything I'm truly proud of in this life has been a terrifying prospect to me.
We did not come this far to just break down and lose now. Everything's not always about winning and losing. I'm a winner. I'm going to win.
You see this guy here staring back at you? Yeah. That's your toughest opponent. Every time you get into the ring, that's who you're going against. I believe that in boxing, and I do believe that in life.
Legends aren't defined by their successes. They're defined by how they bounce back from their failures.
Like, when do you become a man? You become a man when you become responsible for other people. And part of that is taking accountability. I grew up in a culture that told me going to war made you a man. Going to prison and coming back makes you a man. Making $1 million makes you a man. And it doesn't. And you don't know it till you've done all these things and realize, damn, I'm still a little fucking boy.
Pain is passed down from father to son and son to son. Sometimes it's unfair, and sometimes we take it out on those we love.
Second by second, you lose the opportunity to become the person you want to be. Where you can stop making excuses and take charge of your life. The thing is, man, it's always going to be a party. It's always going to be a time to celebrate and a time to join friends or a day to, the bars are always open. Always open. No matter how old you are, they're always open, you know? What's not always open is the opportunity to check the box in life, to achieve your dreams. That's not always open. And it's funny, it's like, I'm not saying you do it all the time and everything else, because everyone needs release in life. But it's funny when you're coming here and you're closing the gym up, and there's no one in the parking lot except for my car. And everyone else probably getting home from some party right now, because bars are closed right now too. They're probably going to sleep, and they're probably going to have to wake up and apologize to somebody for however way they act, because that's not who they really are. They're chemically induced to be a certain way, to have the social lubricants, or be able to talk, to be liked, and say they take something in order to be that guy. It's like people that do steroids, whatever else. I have to take this to be all that, but who I am as an individual isn't quite good enough. That's why I need to take something and become somebody else. It's a sad reality. Coming here at night and, I don't know what it is about it, man. But it's just the air smells a little bit better right now. When you say you're gonna do something and then you follow through and you do it, not at the end when you cross the marathon, you finish it, or your hands raised. I'm talking about right now. The small steps in between the big successes that everyone sees. No one sees this. Right now, I'm saying, there's a confidence to it, man. There's a bad motherfucker that's right here, that's getting ahead of the competition. There's an overwhelming sense of fulfillment and pride and satisfaction with that. I didn't have to shoot up anything. I didn't have to drink anything. I didn't have to go party anything. All I had to do was just go work out. And now what's going to happen is a residual effect of that. Not only does my body grow, but my belief in whatever my current endeavors are they're just, they seem closer. They seem like, I can reach out and grab them now. And you don't get that sense of confidence by going through society's rhyme to reasons. You do your own thing, especially when everyone else isn't doing it, and they call you crazy, whatever else, you in here, and people driving by being like, what the fuck's that guy doing up so late? Well, what's up so late mean? I don't know. It's the moments in life, the decisions you make on a moment-to-moment basis that add up to be the guy or not the guy. Tonight, I did something, that I feel more of a guy.